I'd like to welcome you to the Johnson County
Hello,
Council.
test, can anyone hear me? John, can you hear?
Yes.
All right.
All righty. Back to welcome you guys to Johnson County Council January 11th, 2021 council meeting. I'd like to welcome Ron Deere and Melissa Griesmer to the council.
It's Melinda.
Melinda, what, I'm sorry.
Griezmer, yeah.
As at-large council members. Roll call.
John Myers,
Here.
Melinda Griesmer,
Here.
Pete Ketchum,
Here.
Jim Ison,
Here.
Ron Deere,
Here.
Rob Henderson,
Here.
Jonathan Myers.
Jonathan T, you're on mute. There you go.
How's that?
Much better.
Here.
All right. Mr. Henderson, will you do the invocation?
Absolutely. Thank you. If you would, please, if you're inclined, bow your heads. Father in heaven, we pray to give thanks for the blessing of this day and every day, for the ability to meet together as a group tonight and take under consideration the matters prescribed before us. We pray for your guidance and direction today, and for your just, instilling in us just judgment as we undertake these matters. We pray, Father, for your protection of our law enforcement, our first responders of all types, no matter where they serve. We pray for them, and we pray for our country. All this in the name of your Son. Amen.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're ready. Approval, January 11th, 2021 agenda. There's a couple of additions to the agenda. We'll be adding Board of Zoning member appointment under C and the alternate for those positions. And under other business F, Johnson County Council liaison list for the department heads.
Just to clarify for the motion, John, the board appointment for zoning, that's not the second bullet point, it's a different one?
Said we needed to add, we got the regular and an alternate vote.
Wait a minute, are we going in order here? I mean, on the agenda, we approved where are we at right now?
Approval, number 4, under
Okay.
A.
All right.
I just want to be sure, when I motion the amendment, I'm getting it right.
There's gonna be 2 appointments under the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay,
A primary council member and an alternate.
gotcha. Thank you.
It's not council member. It's just a member.
Okay, non-council member, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'll motion to approve tonight's agenda with those 2 additions.
Second.
I have a motion by Rob Henderson, a second by James Ison. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Public comments. Please state your name and your address.
Elizabeth Tate, that's Tate, 2 T's, as in Tommy, 126 Pilgrim Court, Greenwood. Okay, and I mostly have a series of questions, and I think I'm going to be very brief. But I'd like to request a rescinding of the $8 million that's been planned to spend on the new Whiteland Library. I have some questions that I'm wondering about that. First of all, I'm wondering, and they may have already been done, but I'm wondering if there are any credible projections of usage. Are we going to build an expensive building and not having the requisite number of people to be visiting it, considering the fact of everything that's going on with COVID and all the restrictions and things, and we don't know how long this thing's going to last? We've already got 4 libraries in the county already that are fairly close to where everybody lives. Has there been enough attention paid to avoiding unnecessary and expensive features like windows that go from the floor to the ceiling? And I can't remember everything I read in an editorial I read or a letter to the editor, but there were several things in there about things that might be too expensive, that maybe costs could be reduced, maybe unnecessary and expensive features, wasted space. What is going to be the effect of this library cost on the population in general? Higher taxes. A lot of us are already struggling with taxes, cost of living and things like that. Perhaps there's a better use of the funds if they're already available. Maybe an internet expansion into the areas where internet doesn't reach right now. And no, that looks like that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Claude Tate, 126 Pilgrim Court. I'd like to first say that I have a tendency to, when I get a little excited, my voice goes up. It's not because I'm angry or I'm shouting at the council, it's just I'm getting a little excited. So if you feel like I might be getting a little hyper, just tell me to calm down, and I'll relax, take a deep breath, and see where we end. I've been thinking about the library, as my wife has, and I think it's going to come out kind of like a situation years ago where buggy whip manufacturers were deciding on expanding and building a new building, and they said, well, the car is just a fad, you know, it won't affect our business in the long term. People are too set with having their horses and their buggies. But we know how that worked out. Now, a lot of people are using the internet now for their books, and I go to the library a lot, but I check out just movies, and I see a lot of little children coming in, but I don't see a whole lot of adults using the library. And also, the adults that do come in are using the computers. And with the political situation, as it just took a big turn, I can see where sometime in the near future, there's going to be a government political correctness agency is going to tell you what kind of books you can have in your library, what's politically correct and what's not. And so any money that you spend on books could be just wasted. Another issue is political situation again. You're going to need that money for unemployment. There's going to be a wave of people that are going to be unemployed because they're forced out of their jobs because of political correctness. They're not measuring up to what the standards are. There are people now that are being fired for their political views if they oppose the current government. And the Democrats have set up to where they are going to be permanently in office. And any office that they consider useful to them, as you will, they're going to make sure they win it. They're going to make sure that Democrats control every government, including this one. And so people are going to be out of work for political correctness. They're going to be out of work because of bad decisions by the government that are going to cost jobs. You can see it coming. Now, the buggy whip guys, they maybe saw it, maybe they didn't. But you have an opportunity to see, possibly consider what the future is going to be and where the money might be better spent. Because I think there's a wave of unemployment going to come. When we had unemployment before, they said 10%. I don't believe that. I think it was 17 to 20%. I think they were lying to us then, and I think it's going to get that bad again. And I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Linda Buff. I live at 2552 Santa Anita Drive in Greenwood, Indiana. I have come here tonight to vehemently oppose the building of the $8 million library in Whiteland. Firstly, I want to speak about the vote which took place on December 2nd, 2019 for the building of this new library. There were only 3 of the 7 council members voting yes to the $8 million library project. This is not a majority vote. 2 of the council members weren't even present during the voting. I know there was a motion to revote, and it was not second, but the first vote is not valid if there's not a majority vote, in my opinion. If you will remember, in 2012, Johnson County residents largely voted against the new library, which at that time was only a $30 million project. This is evidence that the majority of the community members are not in favor of the new library. This building needs to be stopped. This new library needs to be stopped before taxes are raised. We're going to have a new administration who has mentioned a possibility of an increase in taxes and a shutdown of the country because of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. This is a foolish fiscal irresponsible to proceed with such a project in the uncertain economical climate that we are in, and to ask residents of Johnson County to pay for such a project. There are people losing jobs or their hours are being cut back, which dramatically affects their income, not to mention the people who are having a difficult time just trying to find ways to feed their family. To ask them to pay more in taxes for a library, which is not necessary at this time, is foolish. The current libraries we have in Johnson County have been closed to the public off and on since this pandemic. There have been weeks where we couldn't even go to the libraries. And we don't know what our new normal is going to be yet. Hopefully someday it'll be back to normal, but we don't know. We don't need an $8 million library to sit empty because no one can use it. All the while, the residents of Johnson County are going to be paying for the utilities for this building and the other just like they do the other libraries. We already have 4 libraries in Johnson County which are in need of capital improvement, and they need to be brought up to code for the American Disabilities Act. Why not use some of this money to upgrade these libraries that already exist? The older building, to put the county in debt in these uncertain economical times would be fiscally irresponsible, because that building will only serve a limited purpose to this county. It's not too late to do the right thing. Revote to stop the building of this library, so that the public will not be upset with you, because I know there's members that in 2 years are going to be going up for re-election, and people remember things now. The political scene and the way that constituents are reacting to voted in members is different now. For many of the county residents, this increase is significant, and the economic consequences should not be downplayed. Johnson County is just now getting businesses to build here. One of the appeals of Johnson County is our low taxes. If you raise the taxes, they may decide to not come to Johnson County and go to another county that has lower taxes. I just think building this library at this particular time is irresponsible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Walter Oliver, 1876 Younts, Franklin. I don't know if you guys remember me, but I wrote a glowing letter to the paper back in March about you guys. So congratulations on those who are newly elected.
Thank you.
But I am here also about the library to help have you guys turn around and undo the wrong act that was portrayed on the voters, the people, the taxpayers of this county previously. As they've stated before, legally you could argue that the vote was illegal. You didn't have the full council, and certain members took advantage of that. You have full council tonight, and we step up and vote on it to stop it. As everyone has said, we cannot afford this. Can you honestly sit there and say that we can't use that $8 million for any other project?
You can't use that $8 million for any other project. It's a library bond.
Okay.
But you can continue.
Cancel it.
You
You can get another bond.
Bonds are being sold next month.
That's next month, sir.
Taxpayers will be impacted in January of 20.
Wait a minute. This is a public comment. I think we shouldn't let him talk.
He asked a question.
Okay, I guess I can't hear real well, and that's why I'm leaning forward.
but masks help, don't they? We can cancel the bond. We don't have to spend it. Does it cost us a little bit of money? Okay. But it doesn't cost us $8 million. And that's what your estimate, I've seen other estimates at 8.8, and when you talk cost overruns, which always happens in construction, we're going to be over $9 million. Now, cancel the bond and find the money for something else, such as, I don't know, how about a stoplight on 44 at 65? No?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice, dangerous.
Yeah, it's a state, it's,
Oh, I just
It's fine.
thought 44
It's fine.
was ours. So I thought the county was responsible for 44. I didn't know it was a state road, my apologies.
apologize for the interruption.
But we have a lot of other things to worry about and do. Let me give you some numbers. Hamilton County, its population, as this was recorded at the time, 338,011. They have 5 libraries. That's a ratio of 67,692 to 1. Hendricks County has 170,311. They have 4 libraries. That's 42,577 to 1. Johnson County, 158,167. Currently, 4 libraries, serving 39,541 to each library. You add another one that's going to drop it down to less than 32,000, 31,663. Again, 1% of those people might use it. We have too many other things that need to be done in this county as it's growing. I mean, is 74 going to affect us? Or 69, excuse me. 69 going to affect us with the construction going through there? What are you going to need to do when that's done? How is it going to change everything? They can tell you on paper, but in reality, you won't know until it's done and actually goes into effect. I hope you take into consideration and save this county a lot of money and yourself shame.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it wrong to, I can't hardly hear up here. Is it wrong to, while you're speaking, to put your face mask down and just help me? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marlena Huffman. You hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. I'm a lifelong resident of Johnson County and recently heard about the proposed library that's rebuilt in Whiteland. I'm here to oppose it, and I just have a few reasons. First of all, last year was the year of COVID. We're still under lockdown. Lots and lots of people have lost their jobs. I personally know several. A couple of their businesses just closed down. Their business is gone. They are now having to look for new job opportunities. I know people whose businesses have been curtailed, and they're searching for alternative ways to make a living. And these are Johnson County residents. We also have a new administration coming in, one who, the Biden-Harris administration, they have already told us during the election season they are going to roll back the Trump tax cuts. And that affects me. We're going to go back to the Obama era. And they've also listed several federal free giveaways that they want to implement. All those are going to raise taxes. And it's just a very, very uncertain time. 2020, 2021 is just an unusual time in history, and lots of people, we don't know what the new normal is going to look like. We don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what will happen with COVID, whether we'll continue the lockdowns, what is going to happen with our businesses, what is going to happen with these new taxes that are being proposed by the new administration. And I feel that at this time, although the libraries were the cause, we've had libraries since Roman times. I think that at this point, it is in our best interest not to raise taxes for something that is a want and not a need. And that's how I view this library as a want. It's a nice want. We all like to see it built, but I think it's pertinent to take a step back and think of what the new normal is going to be and take a minute and maybe shelve it for another year, maybe 2 years, until we know what is going to happen in the country. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Marlena.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oops.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Littner, and I'm the library director for the Johnson County Public Library. And I wasn't expecting so many comments tonight, but I definitely want to reach out to everybody, especially here in the community. I haven't talked to you about the project, and I would be absolutely willing to answer any of your questions. I just want to go over a brief overview for the new council members. That this project was approved in 2019, and since then the library has been working really hard to produce a very fiscally responsible relocation. So we're going to be closing a library and opening a bigger one. The reason we're needing to open a bigger one is many times at the Clark Pleasant branch, we would have to turn away people for programs because the room capacities would not allow it. You can barely get 2 families in the children's department at one time browsing for books. They have a high use of computers, and we can only fit just a few computers in that library. So there's a lot of need in the Clark and Pleasant townships. They're our fastest growing townships in the community, and they're only gauged to grow more. So we are in a small building for about 18 years, never designed to be a library. And I just want you to know that all of this work has been started since 2016 in the research. And after we received approval, we have gone forward with the process, and we have spent $1.1 million of our $1.4 million reserve. So the bond is for $7.4 million. The library has saved $1.4 million, and we've already invested 1.1 to this date. So one, I'm happy to answer any questions from the council if you have any for updates. I'm also able to stay after this meeting, give you my business card, and talk to you anytime if you have additional questions.
I have a process question for either yourself or the attorney. The 2 new council members have some knowledge. I know I do have some knowledge, and I'm certain Linda does also, and the other council members have experience knowledge. But in the process, Sheena, where all actions have been taken that this council can take, is that not correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what.
All actions have been taken that this council is responsible for taking?
That's correct.
After you're done, I'd like to say something, but go ahead.
So that the question is, what the individuals who presented here this evening are requesting has already taken place?
That's correct.
Okay, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, here's the law. I've consulted with many attorneys on this here in the county who know municipal law. First of all, Indiana Code 36-2-4-5 states that a majority vote is required to pass an ordinance. Unless a vote is required, a greater vote is required by statute. Second, Indiana Code 36-2-4-4 states that a requirement that an ordinance, resolution, or other action be passed by a majority vote means at least a majority vote of all the elected members. Third, 3 councilmen voted for the measure. It would take at least 4 to be a majority of the members. 3 is not a majority of all elected members. The law is quite clear. It doesn't take a lawyer to figure this out. The legislature made it clear enough that even lay people, like we council members, can know how this works. Since the vote was illegal, I think we should revote it. Otherwise, I think we're setting ourselves up for costly litigation. Someone will sue. Why not just revote and make it legal, since we have a majority present now? But even if there was an ambiguity arising from the fact that the library bonding statutes contain no express requirement specifically calling for a majority of the whole, why take the risk of litigation? The public voted against the referendum. So although the library board had the right to bring its reduced request to the council to authorize $8 million in bonds on the strength of 3 people out of 7 elected council members, doesn't strike me as good policy. People distrust government these days. This procedure can only amplify that distrust. To revote would show the public the council cares about transparency and good procedure, regardless of the outcome. With all that said, I have been notified that if we don't take some transparency with this, that there quite possibly will be a lawsuit. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Would it be appropriate for the council to give a statement, or do you choose to do so at this time concerning the legality of what you stated?
I didn't prepare a statement for this evening. I gave my opinion.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Sheena Johnson, County Attorney. I didn't prepare a statement for this evening. I wasn't aware that this would be happening. I gave my legal opinion on February 25th, 2020, that I believe that this is a legal vote.
So you believe, did you look up the statute?
Let her speak.
Okay.
My job as an attorney is to research before I give a legal opinion, and that's what I did. This body accepted that opinion, and I believe the vote stands. I also had an opinion from 3 other attorneys that agreed with my opinion. I don't know what else to tell you. I'd be happy to discuss it further with you at another time.
I think we've discussed this probably till we're blue. I mean, the people have said their piece, and you've heard both sides. So I guess we'll just have to wait for a lawsuit. Is that it?
Well, I think there's an alternative to it, and you and I have not received it, and suggest at this point in time that for this discussion, you did render a legal opinion that all other members of the council received. We've not received it.
Right.
I would request that we receive that so that we can make a judgment, because that's what she's questioning, is the judgment that you made.
Sure.
Yet we've not seen what that judgment is, so I would request that you provide us that.
But the statute said that 3, I mean, it has to be a majority. 3 is not a majority.
3 is not a majority. The statute says that there has to be a majority for an ordinance. This wasn't an ordinance. The next section goes on to say that if it requires a majority, then the definition is the elected body.
The clue here is this wasn't an ordinance, this was...
It wasn't an ordinance.
And therefore, that threshold did not have to be met.
Correct. There was other case law supporting the opinion. I can read it to you, I guess, but it seems like a waste of time.
So that you can
$8 million on a three-man vote, but they can't commit an ordinance
Right.
without a majority.
Under Indiana law, yes.
Based upon her opinion, not a judge.
Under Indiana law, yes.
I don't see the protection for the people.
So the protection for the people goes back to 2016, when the library started this process, held multitudes of public meetings, invited the public to multiple events to speak their voice, to be heard, to understand the project, to understand the economic impact of less than $16 per year per property owner on the average assessed median household. We are all very sensitive to the fact of what is going on in our economy today. None of us can project what's going to happen going forward, although I feel very confident in the American people that we're going to be moving forward in a much more stronger position. So to say that the uncertainty of COVID should shelve this project, I disagree. You have a different opinion. We agree to disagree. I hear you. We've made a very, I think it just went away, didn't it? No. We took very diligent steps in this process, all of which are public record through meeting minutes. The library board did an exemplary job of reaching out to the community, to its constituents. And the specific area in the county that this bridge serves is seeing exponential growth. It's phenomenal. It is an underserved location from a library perspective. They demonstrated a value need. They've done it this far in a cost-effective manner, and with an impact to the taxpayer, property owner, of less than $16 per year, based on average median household in Johnson County. So there, you can poke holes and disagree. I can't say, I'm not minimizing what $16 a year does to people or doesn't do, but we took all of that into consideration. In addition, we had the liberals' opinion, and that of 3 others that supported it. So, been around in business all my life, I can tell you, it's not written to the layperson, Indiana statute and code, and much legal opinion is just that. You get 10 attorneys in a room, you're going to get 10 different opinions.
I guess we'll just have to wait then.
I would like to add something, though.
Thank you. So, I would just say, please reach out, accept Lisa Leather's invitation to understand the project, accept the data that's in this and has since been revised, which was available to anybody and everybody who showed interest. And I'm sorry that folks did not engage in this kind of public participation when all of those events were undergoing. Thank you.
So I'd like to add something to this, just to paint a clear picture. I was part of that yay vote back in 2019, and when I came into the meeting that night, I was on the bubble. I had not made my mind up yet, but I will tell you that it was a publicly announced meeting. We had one person in opposition, and probably this room was as packed or better than I've ever seen it that night in favor of the library project. So that swayed my vote to a yes. Since then, the library has spent over $1 million on this project. I will not retract my vote on this. I'm only one if it does go for a second vote.
Okay.
I'm just stating where I stand on it and why.
Can I have a follow-up comment?
Yes, sir.
Sure. In reference to what I said previously, I'm looking at possibly in the future, the economic situation is that the tax base for the county is going to be drastically reduced. Your $16 could very well be considerably more when businesses are closed down and never recover, and when people are put out of work, that they won't be able to pay, they won't have the income that you maybe projected in 2016, which was a boom year. So you may want to reconsider the economic impact that I'm thinking that's probably going to change in the near future. And so, yeah, as you said, you indicated, this is a done deal. There's no way to stop it. But the economic cost to the citizens may be considerably raised beyond your estimates. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
There's one back there.
All right.
Wait.
My name is Mark Wright. I live in Greenwood, been a lifelong resident of Johnson County. What I'm hearing today just really perplexes me. You say you didn't hear nobody was, opposed to it, but yet it was on the ballot and it was a referendum that we said no to. Are you deaf? I don't understand that. We already said, no, we don't want it. We don't want to spend the money. I don't understand why we need a library to begin with. Kids today, you can't even get them to get their driver's license, let alone read a book. They're all sitting home on the internet doing their education. They're not going to the library. Who goes to the library? I know some people go to the library because Blockbuster closed down years ago and Family Video just went out. And they go there to get their movies. So I really don't understand why we got to spend this kind of money in our county for a waste of building and space. But you're saying, oh, it's only $16. Oh, and somebody down the road says, oh, well, here's another $20. Here's another $30, another $50. And my property taxes keep going up. And it's typical government. And I thought in Johnson County, we were conservatives, which means you just don't go spending money for the heck of spending money. But that's what you guys are doing. And, 3 people in the county, or council voted for it. Yet the people of the county voted no. You guys disgust me. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's our money. Take another vote and choose a vote. I don't care if we spend $1 million in research development or whatever the heck you spend $1 million on doing nothing. Cut your losses. Why do we gotta spend $8 million? Because you already wasted $1 million of our dollars. That's ridiculous. Any questions for me?
Are you aware, Mr. Gray, that the referendum in 2010-2011 was not the same project?
I don't care if it was or not.
Well, that was no. Stop using the absolutes. Everybody, nobody, everybody, nobody. That's not true. I would urge you to find time and learn about what the services that Library offers, because there are many people in this community who rely on those services.
You know what I with the library, my kids with the library? I probably couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
They got their phones they do the research on. Yeah. They got their laptop for school. They don't have a library.
That's wonderful.
Why? Can you guys explain to me why we need a library? Oh, because we have a library board and the council and they want to spend money. Or the county. I get it. They want to spend money. Everybody wants to spend somebody else's money. And if Whiteland wants a library, why don't they build their own library? Why does the county have to pay for that? Can you explain that to me?
They don't have a library board.
No, let them get a library board. Let them get one if they want a library. Who's pushing the library on Whiteland?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, point of order. I don't know what points of order specifically are at the council level.
That's why we need dialogue.
But, tonight is not scheduled for a debate about the library. There are other business of the council.
Right.
I think we've provided the opportunities for the individuals to learn about what it is they have to do to be engaged. We've asked the county attorney to provide the 2 new members the legal decision. And I'm not prepared to do anything tonight concerning this other than receive information that we need to consider at a future date. And I would suggest we move on with the council meeting.
Well,
I suggest that Greenwood's got 2 libraries, for example. One's county, one's a city. If Whiteland wants a library, well, let them raise the money and build their own library. Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else for public comments? All right, moving on. Nomination, election of council president.
I will nominate Mr. Rob Henderson for president.
I'll second that.
Who was second?
Pete.
Pete, thank you, Pete. Having a motion by Jim Ison, a second by Pete Ketchum for Rob Henderson to be president of the council. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. You want to take over?
Thank you.
Go ahead and finish.
You go ahead and finish that if you would.
Okay.
Thank you.
Up next is council vice president.
John, I would like to nominate Jim Ison for vice president. This is Pete Ketchum. From John Myers, second.
I have a motion by Pete Ketchum and a second by Jonathan T. Myers for Jim Ison to be vice president of the council. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you. Mr. President?
Great. Thank you, John, for your leadership over the last year. We appreciate it. And we'll move on. Thank you all. Okay, we're going to move on to the appointment section of this agenda, which these are the council appointments to various boards. Some are already, many or all of them are already filled, and some of those folks have expressed interest in retaining. I was glad to see the level of interest from the public to serve in any way possible. So we will go through this. For reference, board, if you would, I'm looking off the board appointments for 2021 that Amy Thompson and I imagine Sheena prepared with the summary of who, that was a PDF attachment. So I'll start with that. First one I have on here is the local alcohol beverage board.
I come in.
Oh, okay. Our current appointee is David Q. Mauer II, and it is my understanding that Mr. Mauer has expressed interest in retaining that appointment, and I would entertain his renomination for that.
So moved.
Second.
And there's a motion from Ron Dare, a second from Pete Ketchum. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of David Q. Mauer II as our appointment to the local alcohol beverage board, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to the Board of Zoning Appeals. This was added to our agenda, so this is our regular member. Our current appointee is Stephen Powell, and it has been recommended by the department to reappoint Mr. Powell, and he has agreed to that. So with that, I would entertain a nomination.
I'll move to approve Stephen Al Powell for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I will second it. Pete.
Thank you. I have a motion from John E. Myers and second by Pete Ketchum to reappoint Stephen Powell as our member to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the Board of Zoning Appeals alternate. In the event that Mr. Powell is unable or cannot attend, then the appointment, our current appointee as the alternate is Paul Klopfelter. Mr. Klopfelter has been recommended for reapproval by the department, and I would entertain that nomination.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Jim Ison and a second from John E. Myers to nominate Paul Klopfelter as the Board of Zoning Appeals alternate. Any further conversation? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, that carries. Thank you. Next is the Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals, or PTA. We have our current appointee is Donna Zangler, and it had been recommended by the department to reappoint Donna Zellner. Keep in mind, this is a compensated position with certain certifications necessary to fulfill. And with that, Donna Zellner has been recommended for reappointment.
So I'll move to approve Donna.
Thank you. I have a motion from Pete Ketchum, a second from John E. Myers. All those in favor of nominating Donna Zellner as our appointment to the Peterbilt, please signify, or I guess any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. Thank you. Next up is our appointment to the Edinburgh Town Economic Development Board. I'm sorry? Oh. Do we need to make that in the form of a motion? Okay. Thank you. Yes. So I'm going to skip back. We've appointed Donna Zellner by the prior motion. We have to set forth the rates, which I will read. The rate of compensation for our appointee is $350 per day for each day for members with a certified level 2 or level 3 assessor appraiser designation, or $100 per day for each day for members without certified level 2 or level 3 assessor appraiser designation. I would entertain a motion for those rates.
So moved. Jonathan T.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Jonathan T. Myers, a second from John E. Myers on those rates. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. Thank you, Amy, for clarifying that for me. Moving on to the Edinburgh Town Economic Development Board. Our current appointee is Wade Watson. And I'm trying to, give me a second here. Do we know if Wade, okay. We did receive one application. Didn't have a last name, it was an incomplete application, but a gentleman by the name of David did reach out and submit a board interest form. Anybody, any council member have the ability to contact Mr. Wilson? Okay. With that, I would like to table it, yeah. You need a motion to table it, can we just, okay.
I'll make a motion to table Edinburgh Town Council, or Town Economic Development position until next month.
Second. Thank you. I have a motion from John E. Myers and a second from Ron Deere to motion our appointment to the Edinburgh Town Economic Development Board. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that will be tabled, and I will make it a point to reach out to Mr. Watson. Moving on is our appointment to the Franklin City Economic Development Commission. Our current appointee is John Bidmers. I did speak with Mr. Bidmers, and he is interested to carry on the appointment. We did have some other applicants interested, but Mr. Bidmers has served for many years and is well, his experience is well valued on that board. Would entertain a nomination.
So moved.
I'm sorry, what? Did you vote?
Second?
Was that John T?
Yes, second.
Thank you. Motion from John E. Myers and a second from John T. Myers to reappoint John Bidmers as our, to the Franklin City Economic Development Commission. Any discussion?
I think I'd like to see a woman in that role. I mean, she's the only applicant throughout all of the appointments, the only woman. And if he's had the opportunity to serve, I think we have a right to be able to bring other people into the community to serve as well.
Is your motion based purely on gender or no experiences? Qualifications? That's all you've got, so is there anything else?
Well, I just want to see some diversity. That's all.
We'd love to, we do when we can, but it's also been rather standard practice, if you will, if someone has served in good capacity and they've expressed an interest in any team, we generally would roll with that. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'd like to take a vote, please. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the Greenwood City Economic Development Commission. Current appointee is Laura Jockman. Laura was appointed, I believe, last year for the first time and is doing a great job from what I gather, and would entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion from Jim Rice and a second from John E. Myers to reappoint Laura Jockman to the Greenwood City Economic Development Commission. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the Johnson County Redevelopment Commission. Current appointee is R. Lee Money. Mr. Money has expressed interest in being reappointed, has multiple years of experience, not only here at the county RDC, which is still relatively new, but at other RDCs in the county. He's an attorney by trade, for those who do not know Mr. Money. I would entertain a nominee.
I'll move to approve R. Lee Money as Johnson County Redevelopment Commissioner.
Second.
I have a motion from John E. Myers and a second from Jim Ison to reappoint R. Lee Money to the Johnson County Redevelopment Commission. Next.
Take a vote.
Oh, yep, sorry. Got ahead of myself. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Next, I have the Johnson County Park Board. Our current appointee is James Kirkham. Mr. Kirkham has been recommended by the department for reappointment. Would entertain a nominee.
I move to approve Jim Kirkman another year, or whatever the term is. Second, Jonathan T.
Now, the motion from Pete Ketchum, second from Jonathan T. Myers to reappoint James Kirkham to the Johnson County Park Board. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. Thank you. And we still have a few. The next several, by statute, have to be a council member as the appointment. First will be the Planning Commission, which I believe Councilmember Pete Ketchum, you're currently our appointment to the Planning Commission, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you for your service on that. Are you willing to retain that appointment?
I'd be happy to do it for another year unless someone else really wanted to do it. I'd be happy to do it again.
I move to appoint Pete Ketchum to the Planning Commission as a council representative.
I think I'd like to try that.
Nominate yourself.
Can I do that?
Yeah, I was just
All
making
right,
sure.
I nominate myself.
Okay. Any other nominees? Present, okay, we have 2 nominations on the floor, Pete Ketchum and Linda Bessemer. And I'm going to look to the legal to see, do we slate something like this as far as,
Well, we usually don't have any competing nominations.
You would take a vote on each candidate, I believe, would
Plan commission.
for each candidate.
In the order,
Of
in
nomination.
the order they were nominated?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, we have a motion, actually, Ron Deere nominated Pete Ketchum first, so we will have I will entertain all those in favor of, hang on.
I think you're heading in the right direction. Entertain a motion to call the vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but, so we've got a motion from Ron Deere. Is there a second on the floor?
For
To nominate Pete Ketchum?
Correct.
Second.
I have a motion from Ron Deere, a second from John E. Myers. Any further discussion on nominee Pete Ketchum? Can I call for a vote? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed?
Me.
Nay. So that would be 6-1 in favor of Pete Ketchum. Now we go on to the...
No, not necessary, because you had a midterm.
I would thankfully hope so. Thank you. Okay, Pete, thank you. Next up is the Emergency Management Advisory Council. Again, with a council member appointment, our current appointment.
You're gonna do the alternate?
Alternate commission.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. I'd like to, we will do Planning Commission alternate council member. So in the event that Pete Ketchum cannot fulfill that obligation, the alternate will, so they retain a nominee.
Who's currently serving in that?
Jonathan T. Myers. He's been on it a year.
Jonathan, interested in continuing? Jonathan T., interested in continuing on as alternate planning commission?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Are you interested in continuing as the alternate for the planning commission?
Okay?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. I would, well, I made the motion, didn't I? Okay.
I think you made a nomination.
I'm sorry, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan T. Myers.
Okay.
Second.
Motion from Ron Deere and a second from Pete Ketchum to nominate Jonathan T. Myers as the Plan Commission alternate.
I'm sorry, did someone say that I seconded that?
No, I didn't.
Did I
Yeah,
say it wrong?
the acoustics aren't that great. I mean, I really had to strain to listen, especially with masks. It's hard.
Apologies. The motion was Ron Deere, second John E. Myers, to nominate Jonathan T. Myers for the Plan Commission alternate. Any further discussion? Go to the vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye, I'm sorry.
Darn. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, Jonathan T.
Thank you.
Going once, going twice.
Next, I have the Emergency Management Advisory Council. I believe, Jim, are you our current?
Okay.
Are you?
Happy to continue.
Thank you.
Unless, Ron, did you want to do that?
I know you have a lot of obligations under your belt right now, and if you'd
I'll
like...
nominate Ron Deere.
I'll second that.
Will I lose all my hair like you did? Oh, I'm sorry. No, this was 24 years on the Greenwood City Council, okay.
Thank you. We have a motion from Jim Ison and a second from Linda Griswold to nominate Ron Deere as the appointee to the Emergency Management Advisory Council. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you. And I believe our final one, is that right, Amy? All right, thank you. Would entertain an appointee, nominee, this was to the Solid Waste Management District, prior held by Josh McCarty, who's no longer with us, so we will entertain nominees.
I'd like to serve on it. I mean, I've been here 8 years and haven't had a chance to serve on it, and I'd like to serve on it.
I'll nominate John E. Myers for the Solid Waste Management Board.
Second.
Well, thank you. So we have a nomination from Jim Ison, a second from Ron Deere for John E. Myers to the Solid Waste Management District. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. Thank you. Thanks to all who have served as either our opponents or council members who have taken on the extra responsibility. It is much appreciated, and certainly wish you the best in that role. Thank you. And other than the one being tabled, which we'll put on the February agenda, I'll reach out to Mr. Wade Watson.
Emergency.
Okay. Next up on the agenda, item D, routine matters, the consent agenda. Just for education, for those in attendance tonight and for our new board members, this part of the agenda, the consent agenda, if you have any specific questions about an agenda item, you can call it out. Otherwise, we take all matters under this section in one motion. So with that in mind, are there any points of discussion regarding items D1 through D11?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion from Jim Ison and a second from John E. Myers to approve tonight's consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no or nay. Hearing none, that carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to Section E, our salary ordinance amendments, additional appropriations, reductions, and transfers. First up, emergency management.
Good evening, Stephanie Seasting, Emergency Management Director for the county. I'm here to ask for additional appropriation. First line item is our emergency disaster spending. It's the same amount that I ended up asking for last year, so I want to start out this year. It doesn't look like we're going to be in control of this COVID virus anytime soon, so it's money that I can buy PPE supplies for the county, cleaning supplies, Lysol spray, wipes, which I get from Sam's Club. They're very willing to call me when they have stock in, and I go purchase it. So I do have some in stock in my office. The second one is for professional services, which will be a new line item in my budget for $75,000. This is what's remaining, what we're due on contract work for the CARES Act COVID grant. And the $25,000 for miscellaneous equipment is also pending invoices from the work and the touchless bathroom fixtures.
So, Ms. Seesting, this is Jonathan T. Myers.
Yes.
Are these items, my standard question is, are these items reimbursable?
Yes.
Reimbursed from the state?
From the CARES Act.
From the
Yes.
CARES Act, okay. All right.
So for us new ones on the council, an additional appropriation, but it's reimbursed, is that correct?
Yes, we received the CARES Act funding, and we have this money in the general fund that we knew we were going to spend on this money. But I just have to come and appropriate in those line items before I can write the claims.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Amy, when you last checked in, the reimbursement process was moving pretty smoothly. Is that still the case?
Actually, we already have all the money because they changed their guidelines.
For payroll.
Submitted payroll. So we already have cash. They just have to
Great.
Yeah, and like I talked to some of you, the number 11 that you just approved, the COVID safety awareness, that's an additional 10% of the original $5 million that the state will give us, that Amy and I worked on. Health department has to be payroll, so health department expenses, payroll expenses, and 911 to get to that amount, which should be coming this month sometime into the county.
Thank you both. Any further questions for Stephanie?
No. Stephanie, nice job. Stay the course.
Thank you.
I appreciate what you're doing, and I'd like to motion E1 for approval.
Second. Thank you, Pete, Mayor, Rob.
Okay. I have a motion from John T. Myers, a second from John E. Myers to approve item E1. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, for all your work. Next up is the innkeeper's tax collection. Mr. Koski, how you doing?
Hi, I'm Ken Koski, Executive Director of the Johnson County CPT Board. I'd like to welcome the new members. I'm sure you'll find your service very rewarding.
Thanks.
So I'm here for our standard quarterly appropriation and to answer any...
Thank you.
I'm here for our standard quarterly appropriation and to answer any questions as I do each quarter when I come in.
Thank you. So for our two new members, it's the agreement with the bureau is that they have an annual budget which we look at, and they also then come in and seek approval or appropriation on a quarterly basis. It's usually just the annual budget divided by 4, and that is what we're doing today.
That's correct.
This is all funded by the 5% innkeeper's tax on hotel stays in the county.
Yes, thank you. Any questions for Ken? All right.
I'll make a motion to approve item 2 as presented.
Second.
Have a motion from Jim Ison, a second from John T. Myers to approve item E2, innkeeper's tax collection is presented. Any further discussion? Thank you. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the grand opening soon.
Yeah, our visitor center, just for the new members, it's located 2 blocks away on Water Street. You're welcome anytime if you want to learn more about tourism and what we do. But we haven't had our grand opening because we can't invite everybody that we want to and have them in that space. But soon,
But
hopefully.
it is open.
It is open.
Yeah, I've been in.
Yeah. We have a lot of sanitation measures in place so we can safely serve the public, but not 200 people for a grand opening.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. Next up is Jones County Park.
Good evening. Megan Bowman, Park Superintendent.
Hi, Megan.
This is just a request to create an equipment lease line in our non-reverting. We talked about doing that during budget hearings. We talked about doing that for maintenance equipment. We realized after crunching some numbers, we didn't quite need that yet. But we were going to create one at the end of this year anyway to start paying on the lease we have on the playground equipment at Independence Park. So we thought, why not just go ahead and make that payment in there, and then next year it'll be both, hopefully.
This is a question for Amy. So bear with us, those are existing council members, and we'll take a little time to catch up to speed on how this, and I personally am going to be meeting with Amy to learn even more. But this is a budgeted item. It's not an additional appropriation coming from somewhere, or am I wrong?
So part of the annual, so it's a non-reverting fund. It has its own cash. So during the annual budget, we did appropriations, but I can only advertise a certain amount, and they had discussions and stuff, so she had to come back. That's what she's doing. She's coming back asking for an additional appropriation from her cash. So getting permission to spend.
So it's a permission to spend. It's not saying I need more money from somewhere.
No.
Which is why I think additional appropriation, I think you're saying, Dad, give me more money.
Yeah.
You know, where this is saying, well, Mom's already got the money, take it out of her pocket and put it in yours.
It's permission to spend in this new line item that was not
Okay.
in the budget.
Okay, so it's not an additional appropriation in the layman's sense of the word. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions for Megan?
I'll move to approve as presented.
Second.
Have a motion from Jim Emails, a second from Jim Arneson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you.
And just a quick side note, for the two new council members, or anyone existing, anytime you want to come tour the park, meet with me, Zoom call, phone call, whenever we're here.
Well, I had the opportunity to use Independence Park shelter from a marriage a couple months ago, so I'm pretty aware of what the parks are doing.
Good.
But I will see you.
Yeah, yeah, we heard you rented a shelter.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Megan. Next up we have County Health.
Hi, Betsy Swearingen, Director, Johnson County Health Department. I'm here today to ask to move some money from my health educator line item into my IT tech position line. That is a new position, and we're asking for an annual salary of $46,368.
Thank you. And your request is retro to December 17th, is that correct? Is that right?
I thought we didn't cover that out of, didn't I move money last year for that?
The payroll starting 12/17 through 12/30 will be paid on January 14th.
Then yes, please.
Okay.
Retro for that last pay period of 2020.
You want to take them separate?
Oh, well, no, that's fine. So, thank you, Elizabeth. The other, Rebecca, the other item under 4 is for C, which is a $2,000.
Right, and so there, that 46,368 doesn't completely cancel out that line item on the health educator, so I'd like to move what's remaining in that health educator position into of that $2,000. What promotional supplies are, we are tasked with providing TB medications to the residents of Johnson County. Many of them are children. It's a terrible process, and it's taken daily at times or multiple times in a week. And basically those promotional materials are little toys and candy and chocolate pudding and whatever it takes to get those kids to take that medicine.
Okay.
And right now one of our nurses has been paying for that out of her pocket, and we feel like we have the money and we should be funding those items.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Motion?
First motion, yeah.
Okay. Have a motion from Melinda.
Retro,
Yeah.
1217.
Yes. With, and it's on the agenda as that, I was just confirming the date, so yes, the assuming the motion includes the retroactive act.
I'll second it.
Yep, thank you. Motion from Melinda, second from Jim Ison. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, those items carry. Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you, everyone.
Can we move her for general?
We got one more.
Before, so she didn't have to stay any longer, because I know she'd have a long day with the immunizations. Would it be all right if we could ask some general questions about what's going on with immunizations? Is that all right, Mr. President?
Yeah, we have one more. That's all right, we're E5.
I thought she was walking away.
Yeah.
I thought I was done.
But you agreeable to giving us an update?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take E5 tonight. Explanation, this is the COVID vaccination, retro to 12/17/2020 as well.
I don't have that. I'm so sorry, I apologize. Our commission brought it with me.
It's a request approval for grant
Right,
appropriation.
Right, I did not know that was that. Yeah, that is a COVID vaccine, the ISDA, Indiana Department of Health. I'm sorry, they've rebranded themselves, so I am still old school. That is our COVID vaccination grant of $112,364.14 in FICA and Social Security to pay for the people to help run that.
Thank you. Any further questions about this grant appropriation?
Motion to approve E5.
I'll second with the retro date of 12/17/2020.
He's, okay, great. A motion from John T. Myers, second from John E. Myers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. Thank you. And we've got two more items on here. Should move pretty quick.
I can be super quick.
Great, thank you.
Just briefly, an update. We had partnered with Johnson Memorial and started a vaccination clinic back on the 18th of December. At that clinic, that was for first responders and frontline healthcare workers. Should go opposite frontline healthcare than first responders. As of this morning, the health department's portion of the vaccination clinic kicked in. I first want to say that partnering with the hospital has been fantastic. They have been great. Their space that they've provided us, the manpower has helped us match manpower, and it's just been a very good partnership. This morning was extremely daunting. So we have JMH's platform and we have the health department's platform, and the state has said we cannot merge them. So this morning was a little tricky when the introduction of 80-year-olds and over were introduced into the vaccine pool. So we had a little glitch, but we got over it, and I was pleasantly surprised to see the participation by our older population. They were very excited, very happy to have us there, and it's been a long day, but a good day. So we are still in the red, so we encourage you to follow the practices that we've laid out. I know y'all are sick and tired of seeing me on TV telling me to wear your mask, so I won't. I'll save it tonight. But keep doing what you got to do, and when the opportunity comes around to get vaccinated, we hope that you do so.
Just a couple of questions. First, as a compliment, that I went through the process of being tested a couple of weeks ago, and if people follow their appointments and follow your expectations of appointments, I was in and out in 5 minutes. Now, I'm leading that to what's happening with immunizations. I'm in the next group, 70 and over.
Sure.
Number one, do you have any idea when those might be occurring, or is it controlled by the state?
It is 100% controlled by the state. Unfortunate circumstances today, I had a wife who was 75 and a husband who was 81. I had to turn her down, but got to vaccinate him. So now she'll have to come back around again, and she'll spend 4 times in our clinic to get them done. So not sure, but we hope it's soon.
And in the clarification, there is 2 little immunization sites, correct?
No. There is one site. It's run by 2 different, it's run by JMH and the health department, and technically we are a big group working together. However, they pigeonhole us into 2 separate, but we are all at the 1125 location.
Are you at one location, but when a person makes an appointment, they're making it either with the hospital or with the Department of Health?
You are, and the only way that it will let you make it is which group you fall into. So today, if you were 80 and you tried to make an appointment at JMH, it would not allow you, but it would allow you to with the health department.
And is that going to be happening in the future?
That's going to happen again because they can't figure out how to get this together.
But the system is supposed to be, you can choose one of those 2 clinics, one of those 2 providers within the same location on the computer.
No. How it works is eventually hospitals will no longer be vaccination sites, but we decided that JMH needed our help in the beginning, and now we need the help on the tail end, so it will basically morph into a health department clinic held at the hospital. That JMH option will fall off in the future.
So the appointment times, for example, when I was looking at, there were appointment times for 9:15 on Thursday for them and 9:15 for you.
Right, but if you were 80 today and you went in to register on that, then you only would have been allowed to get an appointment on the health department's website.
Okay, I understand that.
On the health department's choice, okay.
And then second question is, I thought I heard you stating at the commissioners that there was walk-ins, and it's my understanding it's appointment only.
It is appointment only, but we don't say walk-ins, we say if you have scheduled an appointment per se, like you went as an 80-year-old to get it scheduled today and you can't get on the agenda, or you can't get on the schedule until February the 8th, you could come see us, and if we have the ability, we will work you into that schedule at an earlier date. So that's what we mean by walk-in. I probably wasn't as clear as I should have been. I apologize.
Okay, well, you know what you're doing. It just, when you watch on TV what's going on with all these people just waiting on walking in, and I believe you're responsible for your own destiny and your own responsibility in time. And if you say you're going to be somewhere at 9:15, and the next person's at 9:10 and 20, and the next person's at 9:30, that all those people who made appointments would be served before the person who quote-unquote can be worked in. Is that a correct assumption?
It would be. We have plenty of spots available, and we have extra spots kind of banked in there for when that happens, but I'll tell you, people aren't responsible. They have a 9 o'clock appointment, they show up at 1 o'clock, so if I'm not going to make someone who walks in, to change their appointment, wait 4 hours to see if someone can. We'll work you in. We're pretty flexible. We have the vaccinators. We have the space. If we have to stay over at the end, we'll stay over to get it done.
I guess we're just talking about you're talking about somebody who didn't make it when they're supposed to come, but I'm talking about somebody who never made an appointment at all and shows up.
Right, right now, we're not taking those. It's not like it is at the testing site. At the testing site, you can just drive up, we'll get you in.
Right.
That doesn't happen. You have to have an appointment.
All right, so you can't get bumped, per se.
You cannot get bumped.
Well, I think you guys are doing a great job, and I assume that there'll be some kind of reporting in the newspapers as to when some of this is working out. I was just looking at the other night for some friends that are over 80 and saw that some locations it was into the end of January.
It is,
Yeah.
but we also do have some extra allotment of vaccine at the end of the day, based on how much is drawn up in the vials and how many people don't show up for their appointments. So it's a numbers game at the end of the day. Sometimes we're struggling to find people to vaccinate because you cannot waste the vaccine. It's part of the grant requirement. So sometimes we spend extra hours there waiting to call in people on a wait list.
So you do call in people?
Yeah, we do. We call in. I think Friday was a great day for 20 extra people that got to come in and get vaccinated late Friday evening.
Amazing.
So we're trying.
I'm waiting for the 70s.
Okay. Well, if you need help signing up, you just let me know.
I don't know. I didn't have any problem.
All right.
But I did learn that you can't, I was just going through the process to see, because I'm a process guy.
Right.
That you don't have to be a Johnson County resident, and nor do you have to be a Marion County resident to get Marion County, because I was looking and seeing the community, St. Francis.
You can go to any county in Indiana and get a vaccine if you are a resident of Indiana.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Betsy. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Next on the agenda, Johnson County Redevelopment Commission, items 6 and 7. Take both. Thank you.
Sheena Johnson, Johnson County Attorney. Items 6 and 7 work in tandem. The commissioners have created a fund for the Johnson County Redevelopment Commission, so we're just reducing from the general fund the items in number 7, moving them to the appropriate fund in number 6.
There's no questions.
Any questions of Sheena or myself?
I'll make a motion to approve 6 and 7 as presented.
Thank you. Looking second. And a motion from John E. Myers, a second from Jim Ison to approve items 6 and 7 as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you. That concludes that section of our agenda tonight. Moving on to other business, we did add the matter of the Johnson County Council liaison list. So this is where we would assign various departments to council members with the intent that council members and those department heads work with one another ahead of any matters or just the question and answers. The list is assigned. The assignments currently, everybody should have that, and probably looking to someone to inherit or succeed Josh Turner and his departments, and Josh McCarty in his department as well. Those are all listed there. That would be the simplest way. If Bob Doyle would want to volunteer to assume one of those lists. And then if we from there want to get into anybody that wants to drop or swap a department, that is acceptable as well.
So Josh and what says? Oh yeah, both Josh.
Yeah.
Josh. And Lynn, do you have any particular preference of those two liaisons?
Well, I would, with my background in medical, I was looking at the health, but Pete Ketchum has that, so.
I'd be happy to, although I very much enjoy working with Betsy, I'd be happy to let that go and pick up something else, or however you want to do it, if anyone else was interested in that particular department.
Yeah, I think I'd like that one.
Okay.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Pete.
You bet.
So you suggest, well, my interest would be with the McCarty list.
Okay.
And if what I heard her suggesting, then perhaps you would add health department to Joss's list. Be the simplest.
Yeah. You agreeable to assuming the liaison role that is currently assigned to Josh Turner, but adding the health department, which would be health maintenance and tobacco settlement. And
Sure, that would be great. Yeah, I can do that.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you. For current members, Jonathan T. Myers, anything on your list you wanna, you go with what you got? You probably don't have that list in front of you, do you?
I think that what I discussed with Johnny was acceptable, so I think that anything on that list is good.
Thank you. Pete, we've heard from you in the health department. Thank you for that. Anything else there?
Right, I'm not looking at my list right now. Excuse me. However, no, I'm fine with the group I have. If anybody wasn't comfortable with a particular department or elected official, I'd be happy to take that over. Or if anyone else wanted to swap or anything, I'd be happy to do that. However, I'm content with the folks I have.
This is Ron, to Jonathan T. Myers. Since emergency management is under one of yours, and since I'm now the representative on that, would you have a problem with me just taking that?
Ron, I'm having a hard time.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll say it again. Under yours is emergency management is one of your liaisons, and since I'm doing that board appointment, do you have any problem with me just taking the emergency management and putting it in my liaison?
Not at all. Since you're a senior member of the council, okay. I would defer to you.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Thank you, John, and to you and Ron. Moving down, this so Josh Turner will become done. Myself, I'm fine with my appointments. John E. Myers.
Ron, would you be willing, since I'm the solid waste district?
Switch it to you, yes.
If I take soil and water?
Yep, go for it.
Just so you know, those are two different markets. Soil and water and solid waste are not the same.
Oh, that's true.
Soil and water is the conservation district, and solid waste is solid waste, correct?
Okay, you can keep it.
All right. Very good. Jim Larson, any thoughts on yours? You good?
I'm good.
All right. And then,
You want to take anything?
Josh McCartney will then be assigned to Ron Deere with the addition of emergency management. Amy, you good on that? Awesome, thank you. We'll see the revised list then in our February board packet. Thanks for everybody's cooperation there. I believe that concludes section F.
I don't know the difference between other business and old and new business.
Other business, it's mostly a placeholder for things like what happened tonight. We would slot something that maybe came in since publishment. So moving on to old and new business.
I would like to have some current event business. I just wanted to mention, especially for our new council folks, that there is a committee currently with along with the county attorney. We are working on Johnson County bylaws for consideration for the council, to put before the council for consideration, that would dictate a majority vote of the elected councilmen for any actions that would cause an increase in taxes of any kind. So that's in the works. And I also wanted to note, from my vantage point, it seemed like the forum there ended kind of all of a sudden. I did kind of want to pipe in and indicate that 5 of the 6 current council people know, 3 or 4 months ago, I had a presentation just indicating for many of the same reasons that were stated tonight, that it was not a good time for the library project. At least, and I think I moved for a postponement until the time the council found it appropriate to move forward with the project. And the consensus was, I don't know if we voted on it or it was consensus, but I kind of stood alone on that. I didn't get any traction. I had no support, to put it kind of plainly. But I just wanted to mention that and I think it was left that our county attorney, Sheena Johnson, would provide her legal opinions to both Ron and Melinda, and so that's kind of the only future action that we mentioned thus far. Is that correct?
Yes, on that matter, Peter, I think that was the deliverable from the attorney, yes.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to kind of make sure I was clear on that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other old or new business?
I've got a new business item, just as a matter of understanding. Chris, I know you've probably been busy with a lot of stuff, but Melinda and I don't exist as far as the county is concerned on the county website, as far as the elected officials. And I realized after the reporter called me, I said, well, just have anybody wants to get in contact with me, they can contact me through the website. Went into the website, and yes, I'm not on there. So if you could, work on that as quickly as possible, I'd appreciate it. And then, see, there's a Hoot Cantos back there in the masked sheriff there. Last year in the fall, there was discussion about setting up a follow-up tour on the progress on the jail. Has that been established, or do we know anything about when that might happen?
We'd have to contact Commissioner Walls or Wes
Harrison.
Wes Harrison.
Yeah. A tour did occur, I believe, in November, December, in response to one of those invitations. I couldn't make it that day due to a conflict, but yes, Ron, we can.
Or do we need to do it on a personal basis, or do we, need to do it as a group? I mean, I can do it on a personal basis.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it as a group.
No.
Okay, I'll make contact, do it on a personal basis.
Good. Thank you. Any other new business then? Hearing none, I think that concludes that portion of the
But you
agenda.
guys told me that these meetings only took a half an hour. What's up?
Yeah. All right. Next up is adjournment.
Second.
Motion to adjourn from John Emeyer, second from Jim Ison. Any discussion to adjourn? How about all those in favor to adjourn, say aye?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.